Welcome to Two Women in Crypto, a weekly podcast birthed on a whim by two women who are excited about the cryptocurrency landscape and have a shared passion about empowering others to step into the digital, tokenized world of the future. We offer tips, tricks, and our own individual insights as to how to begin to navigate this shift. We are not financial advisors nor experts. We are just here to encourage you to look at the possibilities. So welcome to the future. You're right on time.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. The temperature here in Florida went from like 80 to 52 overnight. So
Well,
I know. It's a little shocking.
it's a little shocking. The body's going, So hence the hoodie and the sweatshirt. And yeah, well, we are still in the throes of winter, they say.
That's
But
true.
here in the Pacific Northwest, all of you out there that are over here understand the light is coming back in. Oh my goodness. This time of year when we can walk outside and it's 5:15 and it's still light at night, we're very, very happy. So just means that it's not too far off now.
No. And light is really important.
For many reasons, many forms of light.
I want to make a point here.
I'm sure you do. Please.
So Apple is coming out with their new virtual reality headset. And I was having this great conversation with my friend, and he was talking about, we're already in the metaverse, right? And we sit in front of our computers, like we are in the metaverse, like Kelly and I don't have legs.
Right.
But what happens, like right now we're getting the light, like I'm sitting outside, even if you're inside, there's windows, you're getting some sort of indirect light. What light will you get when you have a headset on your face for hours and hours a day?
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Because people are so used to the supplements and things. They'll just get their vitamin D drips and, that'll be their infusion of light, if you will. But no, I completely get it. I mean, these days where my days have been really full lately to where I go from one computer to the next computer to the next computer for 15, 16 hours in a day. And it's like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. So you got to get out there and spend some time in nature and even on cloudy days, all those good things. So yeah.
Yeah, it's such a good reminder of how important it is to go out in nature. So I just want to make that point. I know we're all in crypto and we study this stuff all the time, but we got to take breaks and we got to be outside.
Absolutely. And here's a great reminder. Since we're talking about nature, look up. Yesterday, I'm always looking and viewing and seeing and, surmising life in my mind. But 10 feet above me was a beautiful bald eagle just perched in the tree. So beautiful. Those are all the blessings to be bestowed when we can be present outside with Mother Nature. It's beautiful.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. All right. Well, let's jump into some news. So we're gonna start off with like a scam alert. Scam alert.
Golly jeez.
So one of the guys, he belongs to Two Women in Crypto. He sent, thank you, Kevin, for sending this. I got it first thing this morning. So someone impersonated Ripple's website, and they're offering like really high staking for your XRP. Do not stake your XRP. Honestly, like if you're in doubt, reach out. If you find something that's too good to be true, it probably is.
Right. Absolutely. And one of our really big rules of thumbs as well is that if you are doing any research on a coin, go to CoinMarketCap, go to CoinGecko, and then find the particular project's URL there. Do not just do a Chrome search. Don't just do a Brave search for XRP. And, because it's I could copy somebody's website page. Yeah. So it's just really important that you go through a vetted source because, early on there was a lot of scams, and I'm not saying that there's not going to continue to be. Obviously there will be, so you just need to be mindful of where you're getting your information.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So everybody right now, especially if you're holding, some of your favorite coins like XRP, just hold it on your hardware wallet for now until we get some regulatory clarity. We have some sort of focus of where, this entire industry is heading, because it's heading somewhere.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah. All right. Well, I'm super excited to jump in. I want to talk a little bit about Hedera Hashgraph today. The token symbol is HBAR. We just taught our ISO 222 class, which was awesome, on Saturday. And I just kind of continued afterwards because there's so much adoption, right? So, like during a bear market, we have the opportunity to take some time away from like the charts and the markets and really look into what are some of these companies building, and like who's building on Hedera's blockchain.
Right.
And it was like super interesting. I came across it's the largest bank in Southeast Asia, and they're basically going to be bridging our legacy banking system and bringing banking into metaverse.
Oh, of course, of course.
Yeah, they're investing, Kelly, over $700 million a year.
Wow. Wow, that's huge.
So, it's kind of like, man, we got to like dig our feet in the ground, because I'm just looking at how fast the world is changing.
Yeah, it's pretty mind blowing. It's a little too fast in a way, but we have to lean into it. But and this is specifically with HBAR.
Yeah, so specifically with HBAR, and they've been really working on their scalability. Like the amount of transactions that they can do per second is way more than Visa. And I think like on their private permissioned network, I think they're up to 500,000 transactions per second.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, so we're really seeing these ecosystems get built out. And, and again, when I'm looking at some of the projects, right? So these decentralized applications, I kind of look at it as like businesses are being built like on the blockchain. And if Hedera Hashgraph can be one of the leaders for banking in the metaverse, it's going to give them an edge, right?
Yeah, it'll be a huge. I mean, we know there are going to be a multitude of players, but it seems to be that they're leading the space at this juncture, at least from the research that you've been doing.
Yeah. Well, I think JP Morgan's leading the space.
Well, yeah, but you know what? That whole JPL, they just irritate the bejeebies out of me. But yes, that's a whole. Yeah, go ahead. Let's dive into there next. However you want to go.
I'm just not a fan, it's so frustrating to see like blockchain could give us freedom, sovereignty to break away from these centralized systems. And like, I just, I kind of think about all the different possibilities, but like, I look at JP Morgan, they were the first bank to enter into the metaverse. And it just kind of blows my mind, because like they've been so against cryptocurrency and
Right.
all of these things, and Jamie Dimon saying crypto's pet rock and all this stuff, and meanwhile they copied Ethereum's blockchain. They were the first bank in the metaverse, and
Of
you know
course.
it's unbelievable.
Well, I mean, it's a perfect example of why don't listen to them, because they're doing everything that they're telling us not to do. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's true, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, JP Morgan has, they copied Ethereum's, network, made it centralized, and like they have their JP Morgan coin, JP coin, and it's just like they have so much power, so much control. Like, how much are they going to be infiltrating this blockchain space to make it even more centralized, more permissioned? And that'll lead us to more censorship, right?
Right.
We don't like you. We like you. You're no good. You know, you said something bad. And these are some of my concerns. And then I looked at, I'm going to be jumping around all over the place, but I was looking at, did you see the new payment system that I sent to you?
I have not had a time to do any deep dives on anything.
Okay. So just really interesting. It's called, everyone, we'll have the article in the description, and it's Universal Digital Payment Network.
Okay.
And when I was looking at it, and I was looking at like who's backing it, there's 4 major companies, right, that are involved with this universal payment network that can take over the SWIFT system.
Yeah, and explain just briefly what the SWIFT system is, just real quick.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, so the SWIFT system is the main system that the United States currently uses for international trade. And, you know, we've been seeing and hearing a lot about countries wanting to break away from the United States because when countries don't follow the rules that the United States wants you to follow, you know, they put sanctions on the countries, and we put sanctions on Russia, we put sanctions on Cuba, we put sanctions on a lot of different countries, and they're not able to do the trading with the 11,000 financial institutions that are on SWIFT. Is a big deal, right? I mean, we're talking probably hundreds of trillions of dollars that get traded. So when I see things like, okay, well, Ripple's been in the lawsuit, right, for well over 2 years now. Unbelievable, this lawsuit's still going on. And they have an alternative to the SWIFT system. The SEC drops a lawsuit while this system's like being built and ready to go. And who controls the system is China. So did the United States sell us out to China?
Oh, that's interesting.
Because you're stopping Ripple. Ripple has an alternative to the SWIFT system. Why wouldn't we encourage that? But no, we're going to just, you know, because the World Economic Forum wants everybody to live in a smart city under, you know, a surveillance state. And who's the best at that? China.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
I mean, that's just my thought. I'm not saying that that's true, but it's just like, I don't know. Like, I would really be encouraging an American company to replace the SWIFT system, not this universal digital payment network that, you know, JP Morgan is heavily involved in. They're going to use a mixture of, you know, Ethereum blockchain plus Hedera Hashgraph has the scalability, right? They can do the smart contracts. They have a native token. So it's kind of like, you know, I'm not worried about XRP because we know XRP is separate than Ripple, right? And we know the adoption. We did a deep dive last Saturday in our class. So I mean, you know, I'm not concerned about the adoption and the usage of XRP, but it definitely made me dollar cost average into Hedera, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and we've known that Hedera was going to be, well, certainly a part of the ISO 222 tokens as well. And then, you know, Hedera is a little bit difficult to get a hold of to some degree. So, I mean, if anybody who's listening to this, and then none of this is financial advice, we peel back the layers and just for consideration. But, you know, HBAR, if you are acquiring HBAR, you can't necessarily store it on a normal hardware wallet either. You have to use their wallet. So there are some complexities to it, but worth getting, worth looking into, in our opinion.
Absolutely,
consideration.
absolutely. Yeah, and I think the name of the third-party wallet that I use is called Hashpack.
Hashpack, yep.
You can buy Hedera on Uphold. And Uphold actually offers 5% staking for your Hedera. Now, I don't recommend keeping Hedera on a centralized exchange. All of our tokens should be
On a
off
wallet.
our exchanges. Like we just saw Genesis declare bankruptcy. The contagion effects aren't over,
Right.
you
Right,
know,
absolutely.
but I wanted
Close.
to make a mention of that. And again, it's just like, when I think about Hedera and their partnerships, they're partnered with Google, they're partnered with Wipro, they're partnered with IBM, and Hedera can also be used to solve some of our supply chain issues.
So would you put them in the same category then in regards to that as VeChain?
Yes. And it makes sense, right? Because VeChain is going to be providing a lot of solutions for global supply, but they are based in China. So if Hedera is partnered with IBM, and you could go to IBM's website, I mean, they talk about their blockchain for, global supply issues. I believe that technology is Hedera. So I could see that taking over the United States and blockchain being a big part of, China and Singapore and that region. So, it's definitely the year I think that we're going to see some of these winners being picked.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think even though there might be a front runner, the other one will still have their role to play.
Oh,
You
absolutely,
know.
absolutely. And I think about VeChain too, and I pulled up their roadmap, and the second half of 2023, they're going to be like building out their smart city
Hmm.
ecosystem. So I
Sorry. I'm trying. I'm, I'm trying to not go, huh?
I
It's one of those days. Kelly's kind of like in this
I
phase.
know,
So I apologize. Typically I'm not that, but that just kind of anyway, it's all good.
I know. And the thing is, like, there's a lot of people who are protesting in the streets, right? And they're not showing it on mainstream media.
No, no.
So, these are all possibilities of things that can happen. The thing that concerns me is that most Americans don't even know what a central bank digital currency is.
Oh, I know, and it's really mind-boggling to try to because I mean this is the purpose of us being here every week is to continue to hopefully pull back the layers so people will peek in and golly, golly, we have a lot of
I
work
mean,
to do.
yeah, and it's like, just please like share our videos, like
Yeah.
get this information out. Like we've been getting awesome feedback. Like I released the FDIC video and I appreciate everybody's comments. It keeps us going, right? Because it's like if we can reach one person, it makes it worthwhile. Like it's really hard to look through all the different YouTubers out there, and most people are trying to help people, and we'll bring projects to your attention, but please do your own research. Go to the company's websites, like, write down a list of your favorite projects and your favorite tokens, but before you buy anything, like, do a deep dive, right? Because this is a speculative market, and to think about how this universal digital payment network that was released at Davos,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's very concerning how much information is kept from us. And I'm in this 24/7.
Yeah, no, you are. You are
And I
doing the deep
didn't
dive
know
every day.
and I didn't know about this, and it's like, so it's like you get so excited thinking about how cool would it be for Ripple, like a new, using a neutral bridge currency, and there's China being like, so And again, this isn't a done deal. But when I look at the World Economic Forum and I look at that young executive leadership program, these folks have been here for so long that they're now leaders of other countries. They're in the parliaments, they're in the cabinets, they're in the United States government. And if they're all on board with this, they have all the money, folks. You know, Ripple's what? Like valued at 15 billion. That's nothing compared to what JP Morgan with all these other companies like BNY Mellon, Santander, Credit Suisse, State Street, like all the major players are all it looks like it's this universal digital payment system, which leads me to believe that, all right, here we go. This is probably it.
Yeah, interesting. So I don't know if this is a good time to weave this in or question it, but did you read this week too about Binance limiting certain amounts? You know, you can only use an ACH if you're depositing or working with $100,000 or more.
Yeah, and I did do a deeper dive, and it's like specifically, you know, there's like two really large cryptocurrency banks, right? So we have Signature Bank, and what's the other bank? Silver. What's it called? Silver.
I don't know. I don't. That one doesn't ring a bell. But that doesn't.
I wrote it down. And my 25 pages of notes.
Sure. Your binder will be time capsules for somebody eventually.
I'm going to ask GPT to write me a book.
Right.
Just if I could put all my notebooks in and just be like, GPT, write me a book with all my information.
Aren't they going to start charging people for access to GPT?
Right now it's free. So there's no subscription. You know, it's only updated to 2021. So keep that in mind. The name of the bank is Silvergate.
Okay. That one doesn't ring a bell, but okay.
So basically what they decided to do, because they were heavily invested into FTX, obviously they were like some of the largest crypto banks.
Sure.
So they're limiting their exposure. So they can really slow down the amount of transactions if they put a high bar of pretty much accredited investors, right? I don't think too many people are transferring 100 grand because that's how much it is, right? You need 100 grand to actually use the SWIFT code because it's tied. These banks are tied to a SWIFT code. But again, people like it doesn't affect us, right? So when we saw a lot of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, don't worry about it. I think it's more like they're just trying to protect themselves. I think that I also read something that somehow they were tied to the United States federal home loans. So I think these banks are going to be bailed in with some of these funds. I don't know if it's from FTX. I don't know what it is. But, you know, I look at like these balance, right? I mean, these companies are taking our funds. These exchanges took retail investors' funds. That's a bail-in. So even though it's not a Bank of America and all these other banks yet, it's happening in crypto.
Well, one of the reasons I wanted to bring up the Binance situation is because I had a lot of folks reach out to me that I work with saying, well, does that affect those monthly dollar cost averaging scenarios that they've got set up with their Binance accounts? Because a lot of individuals are doing that. They're taking their coffee money and saying, put $20 a month in XLM, put, you know, $20 a month or whatever. I mean, whatever that amount could be quite a bit larger, or it could even be less. But regardless, their concern was that would also affect their transfers. And that's not the case. We're talking about people who are doing more like leverage trading or what have you, that they want to put in, you know, their funding accounts. So that makes sense.
Yeah. So
and actually kudos to Binance for doing that.
Yeah.
In a way, I mean, they're managing their own risk transparently.
Right. I mean, I think some of these exchanges, and again, this is going to be the year we're going to see a lot of winners, but we're going to see a lot of crypto projects just go to the wayside.
Yeah.
So, with the debacle with FTX and just with the market dropping, with folks being over leveraged, lending out our money, like being leveraged over and over and over again. I mean, companies are in the red. I mean, we're seeing high layoffs, in the tech industry. A lot of these like exchanges aren't growing, but so we just want to be super careful.
Right.
And I love that people are taking their coffee money and buying crypto. That's freaking awesome.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Makes so much sense. You go buy a $10, cup of Starbucks once a week at least. Most people are. A lot of people are. It's like, golly geez, go buy yourself some Folgers or some Nescafe instant coffee in the morning. Just keep it super simple if you need the caffeine fix, which I do. Not necessarily.
Buy organic coffee, make your own.
Make your own, do it at home, buy cryptocurrency.
Yeah, buy your crypto. Have a cup of crypto on us.
Have a cup of crypto. That's it. Have a cup of coffee. Cup of Joe.
I love it. I love it. All right, cool. So yeah, but I do, I definitely am a little concerned with like some of these larger companies. Like I can't stress that enough because I just don't know like what projects they're going to kind of crush. But we know Stellar joined the CFTC, and Ripple's going to be highly regulated. I mean, they're going to be like, I mean, once they win the lawsuit, I mean, just think about all the hoops they had to go through. So, I mean, XRP will have strong clarity after this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then we can really see like some of these projects flourish. Algorand made an announcement that they just partnered with the National Bank of Australia.
Oh,
Very nice. Very nice. I believe also with Ethereum. So as much as we don't like Ethereum is a big time winner, you guys.
yeah.
It's a big time winner, and they are just growing and growing and growing. And sometimes it's not like who has the best technology. It's, you know, who you know, right? Who you know, who's backing you. And again, it's like most development, most smart contracts, most decentralized applications are on Ethereum. We can't
Right.
forget that.
We all need a little bit of Ethereum, regardless of if you're holding it as a main asset in your portfolio, but you need it for gas. And the gas is what moves things around. And all of us are holding ERC20 tokens. Those of us that have been in it for a while. So everybody needs Ethereum.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Not financial advice, but
No.
again, if you hold any ERC20 tokens, you have to hold at least a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. All right, cool. So, what are we going to do? What should we talk about next? How China wants to dominate the world?
Ooh, that's a new coffee cooler chatter. Yeah, please, let's go there.
It makes me want to end our videos like after we say "hodl on" with the ending of Ren and Stimpy, like we're gonna take over the world.
Well, I was actually going to go. So, see, I don't know that, but I was going to go with the other phrase that you and I have been talking about. I think you and Rowan have been saying it, and then we die. So that's kind of where I was going. But we'll leave that. Maybe that's for another.
Yeah. So here's a crazy thing about, and then we die. So, so, so Rowan manages this really large company, for the company she works for, and she's got to put together a health coaching program for a main investor, right? That's having trouble sleeping. So Rowan goes on Chat GPT and put together a 6-week program on helping someone sleep better. And it's like boom, 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 boom. And Rowan looks at me. I looked at it and I'm like, that is amazing. This makes you look like a genius. And she's like, I just got stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that is one of the things. And, anyway, the three of us had this very long conversation this week just about that. we have choices to make. But yeah. Anyway, that's a whole nother.
The thing is, like, it's like we have choices to make, but like, I talked to my brother this morning and I'm like, because he's a school teacher, I'm like, do you still write lesson plans? And he was like, sometimes. So I told him about, go to openai.com, right? And then he was like, oh my God, I heard about this. The kids are using it to write their school reports. And I'm
Of
like,
course they
isn't
are.
that cheating? It's an issue. There's
For
ethical
sure.
concerns, and they're just.
Well, for anybody, I was listening to a podcast months ago about that whole scenario, and the baseline is that you don't have to know anything anymore, and so I could present myself as an expert on some ridiculously difficult subject or whatever, but if anybody came up to me and asked me any question about it, I'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking. I mean, nobody's going to know anything,
Yeah.
but it's just that it's a very fine line to walk, but I think we're already seeing that and have been seeing that in the world as it is. But I think now we're crossing that threshold. Is what's the point of it if that's that accessible to anybody? But that's really a whole nother podcast. This whole deep dive into how
I'm
we
going
are
on.
dumbing ourselves down, and it's a consistent thing, and we can anyway.
But it's all connected.
It is
Because,
all
like,
connected.
when the government told us to stay home and watch Netflix, I remember Bill Gates saying, we need to reimagine our educational system.
Yeah.
And this could be one of the things with your VR headsets. Do we need school teachers? Can teachers teach the children better than some of this technology? And the answer is no. And you can argue with me, but I'm telling you, like, check out that last video that I posted, even with lawyers. If you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, if you're an accountant, you're a school teacher, everyone's job is in the process of being automated. So in February, and I think I mentioned this last week, but I really want to drive this point home and just don't say no, right? Like, right away. You got to really sit with this and go and try OpenAI, and you tell me, because people are like, I would never use artificial intelligence as a lawyer. But once you start working with the tool, you will change your mind. Same thing with cryptocurrency. I would never invest in cryptocurrency. But once you do the research, you'll change your mind, because we're moving into a new world.
Yeah, but the challenge with that is I'll have that argument all day long with cryptocurrency and that part of technology, but I am not ready, nor should the world, in my humble opinion, be ready to remove the human experience. Part
Hey,
of being a lawyer and being in court is playing off of the human emotion. It's an emotional thing when you're in that kind of a scenario. So I mean, yeah. Anyway, I understand what you're saying, but damned,
I know.
damned.
But and the thing is, like, I agree with you. I don't think that we should be going into the metaverse. I think it's not going to be good for our health. I think it's a step towards merging with the machine more so than we already are. Like, our phone is an extension of who we are.
Right.
Use your phone. How do you feel?
Right.
Try to be away from your phone for a couple of hours. Are you going through withdrawal? This is reality. And that's what I always try to bring back. Like, there's just not a lot of people who don't go out and just are glued to their phone. Like, we're addicted. So, if I'm like 22 years old, I don't have any money, and I can wear a headset, listen to AI to get me out of a speeding ticket, if I was 22, even if I'm 51, which I am now, I would use AI, because I know I'm not going to have to pay that ticket. And that's just the truth.
No, I get it.
I get it.
I get it. I'm grateful to be aware of it.
Yeah.
And to know, I mean, that's the bottom line. You be aware, and then
Yeah.
you decide what you want to participate or not. Like, do you have Instagram on the phone? I do not. Do I have Facebook? I do not. Do I have YouTube on my phone anymore? No, I do not. Because I find that I spend way too much time in it, and my time is precious to be in this world. So anyway, we all have a role.
Yeah, we all have a role. And it's just, and again, it's like I just want to present things because I see things changing and I see, the technology, like, especially with some of these games, like it's called like gamification, like, you play to earn. And I looked at Meta's, metaverse, and like, you walk in and then you get like your fake gun and you're shooting the little blue circles, and that's going to give you tokens that you can cash in and, buy yourself a really cool like digital outfit,
Mhm.
so I'm really starting to see the metaverse like grow and get better. It's
Yeah.
not there yet, and like people are like, my son, he put the VR headset on, it gave him a headache. He wants nothing to do with it. And I said, well, what about Apple's new 3000? It's $3,000 for this VR headset. It's not going to be for everyone. It's not very inclusive. Just saying. But like, what happens when you don't get a headache? And what happens when it becomes way more immersive? And
Right.
that's the thing. It's just like, I think as humans we have addictive tendency. We get very addicted to this stuff.
Absolutely.
It's already happened, right? So I just want to throw it out there. And then like banking, sales, shopping, entertainment, music, real estate, finance, it's all going to the metaverse.
All of it is. Absolutely. Publishing, everything is going to be there.
As Klaus Schwab says, you will own nothing and be happy. I don't know about the happy part. I think we'll just be like a shell. I'm just kidding. Or we rise, we go through pendulums, right? And we can
Oh,
be
absolutely.
super human centered, and now we're swinging this way, and then hopefully we'll come back. Because I gotta tell you, I have hope.
Well,
And
we have to be hopeful.
and but specifically, I want to talk about a project.
Okay.
I want to talk about Cardano real quick. All right. So I don't know if a lot of people know this. Obviously, I'm a long-term holder of Cardano. I love Cardano. I love Charles Hoskinson, really smart guy. I just I read an article a couple of days ago. 60% of all the nodes went down on the blockchain.
On Cardano's blockchain,
Yes,
but they had a pretty quick recovery, if I remember correctly, didn't they?
absolutely. And how did they recover? This is the important part. How did Cardano recover? Do you know?
I don't recall that when I read the article.
The blockchain has a built-in healing mechanism.
Okay, so I was going to say that it healed itself.
It healed itself without human intervention. When Solana had all of its problems, what happened? The developers went in and halted the blockchain,
Yeah.
centralized. Cardano is a decentralized blockchain, which
Yep.
gives
Yep.
me
Yep. Yep.
hope. It does give me hope, right? Because this is why crypto was created in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. I remember that. So recently, I think it was last week too, Charles said something about the consideration of buying CoinDesk too, which takes publishing. I mean, I found that, and then I had to go to YouTube and find the video that he posted about it because I saw it on a Twitter thread. Um, I just love his approach. He's spot on. I mean, that whole thing. So I would encourage anybody to go look that up as well. It's a conversation. Of course, he's just speaking to us, the public, the general population, about what he would do if he did purchase something like CoinDesk and how he would make it a rewards type system, a very interactive system in regards to. Yeah, I appreciate where he's coming from, and on all facets of his Cardano ecosystem.
Right. And it's so good to see Cardano get tested because you guys, like, things are going to happen to these blockchains. We're
Absolutely.
still infants, right? We are, maybe we're toddlers now. We're not really infants, but in new technology, things go wrong, systems go down. For example, the New York Stock Exchange went down, right?
Oh, that,
So, I mean, whether you're in blockchain or not, things happen to technology, right? But to see the decentralization work, you
right.
know, that's the thing that gives me hope. And then I'm looking at, Cardano is pretty big in like Africa, Tanzania, and, you know, there's a lot of people that don't even have cell phone service. Like, I think there's 2 billion people that don't have cell phone service in Africa. And Cardano partnered with this company called World Mobile, and they're building, not like these huge telecommunication systems that are like millions and millions of dollars because they don't have the money to bring telecommunications to the people there. So they're just building like smaller telecommunication sites so people will have access, right? To a mobile phone, to a mobile wallet, to do peer-to-peer transactions. And it's growing and it's live. And I don't think Cardano gets enough attention.
Well,
Yeah,
of course not.
right,
Yeah.
right,
No.
because they're decentralized.
Right.
Right? So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
but that's great. Thank you for bringing that up. That's big work that's being done.
Yep. And then, you think about Hedera Hashgraph, which is way more centralized, right? I
Oh,
mean,
extraordinarily. Yeah.
so they're probably just centralized. Like, let's just face it. But like, if they're doing more work like with the Swift system, and then I can look at like, well, they're doing 500,000 transactions on a permissioned network. So what happens, because it's happening this year, when Hydra
Hmm.
goes live and can do 2 million transactions per second in a
Yeah.
decentralized blockchain network? I love Cardano. I just, they haven't disappointed. I know it's been like really slow and people get frustrated, but like, you guys, like, Cardano is over $3 during the bull market. I don't know what it is now, like maybe 30 cents, 40 cents, but
I can look.
these are some of those projects that Kelly and I would recommend to do some extra research on.
Yep. Not financial advice, but certainly lean into it. Absolutely. What is Cardano trading at? Cardano is trading at 37 cents.
Okay. Yep. Yep. So, I mean, this is just all good stuff. And this, it's just really important too. And I love when I check, my staking, and every 5 days, it's just like passive income. It just keeps hitting my account that I have access to through my hardware wallet. And I'm participating in decentralized finance. And it makes me feel really good because I'm helping a decentralized network like excel, in my own way, right? I don't have millions and millions of tokens, but like, it all helps stabilize the blockchain. And then more and more nodes are going to just continuously be created, and they're doing good things with their technology.
Sure. Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
and that's really, really important, and it's important to diversify. And I'm not saying Hedera is bad. I think, it is what it is, right? We live in a centralized world. We're connecting to decentralized finance, which they're going to centralize. And then hopefully in time, projects like Cardano, projects like Pulse Chain will just really start to take over, because if the government step in, like the European Union, they want to release their stable euro coin, and they're like, it is not going to be programmable. Let me make this clear. Well, that's a bunch of BS. It's programmable. I did a deep dive into open banking.
Mm.
And I'm in the code and I'm looking at the security firewall layers. It's called F5. And it's like this centralized plane that can absolutely deny your transaction.
Yeah.
So again, they say one thing, but they do another. It makes me think about Jerome Powell when he would talk about, we're just going to look at a central bank digital currency. This is America, I don't know. And then like now it's like, oh, we have to hurry up and get a central bank digital currency because we're falling behind China. Really? Like, we don't even want to be like China. Do we want to go on a social credit score and be tracked with carbon credits? I mean, it's kind of insane that we're like racing to be like China.
Well, just real quick on that whole carbon credit score, there's a new report out on how impactful this electrical systems, this decarbonization of the grid, what kind of an impact it's actually going to have. And it's not as lovely as they have been painting it to be. It's a brand new study that just came out. So I think we're just in the middle of so much. I mean, and you just have to lean into what, do you want to buy an electric car? Do you want to have anyway, it's just
I know.
so
Do you
many
want to
things.
have a car that has a kill switch and they could just commandeer your vehicle and like pull it to the side of the road? Jeep can do that.
Yeah.
Not even with electric vehicles. So, I think we'll hit a tipping point. And like I said, I see they're rolling things out. They're always going to roll things out in smaller countries first. We have the world reserve currency. It's not going to happen tomorrow, but there's been a lot of glitches in the banking system on the New York Stock Exchange, which, it seems like, when I think, because I would hire people, right, to work on disaster recovery and all these different things. And it could have been, right? I mean, not everything is like they're testing the new system, right? So, but like, it could be, but at the same time, it's just, there's been a lot. It's just hard when there's all like, how many,
Sure.
it's a quinkydink over and over and over again. So, but it could have been like a manual error, which is what they said on limit orders. So it very well could have been,
It
but
could have been. There's lots of possibilities for sure. But I think the thing that we need to be mindful of is, of course, like everything is changing and there is a new cryptocurrency. As much as there's so many people out there that don't want to believe it, it is the new asset class. And stocks are stocks and they still have value, but you're going to see the transfer of how that all is going to look with this technology. So I think part of it has to do with that as well. I mean, I think there's a lot of threads at play. And I also think it's really important too to go back to what you were talking about, because we do talk a lot about the ISO 222 tokens, but there's a great deal of great projects on the other end of the fence. And Andrea and I both say we're willing to play the game, whatever game this is. So if it means investing in some ISO 222 tokens, absolutely. But yes, absolutely look outside of that as well. So I think, because we've spent a lot of time, especially as of late, really talking about the ISO 200 tokens. So,
well, and I, one of the reasons we're so focused on it is because this is the next area that's going to be adopted cross-border payments. The Fed now is going live this year. The SWIFT system is, who knows when it's going to change over, but it is changing. And the United States is losing the status of being the world reserve currency. So this is a process that's happening. They're just not telling mainstream public. So, and that's one of the reasons why we do focus on this, because the banking systems are changing. I visited my mom's friend and she had, TV on, and there was a commercial for Bank of America, and they're talking about everybody downloading your digital app. So we're moving into the digital economy, which is called open banking. I did an entire podcast of it. Everybody should go back and re-listen to that podcast because it's really important to understand what this means, right? And it doesn't have to be bad. but who's our leadership, and where are they taking us? I mean, when I look at the SEC and how many, they're just overstepping the Constitution with what they're doing, so we're not following the law, right? All of this regulation without enforcement, declaring these companies or these blockchain projects as securities is not the SEC's job. It's Congress's job.
Yeah.
So, and that stuff makes me nervous. And then to sue Ripple while this Chinese-based SWIFT system could be taking over, it's, it is what it is, but it's okay. We have Cardano.
Yeah. Lots to process, but it's all good.
Yeah, lots to process. And if anybody has any questions, Kelly and I are doing our monthly Q&A.
Yes, it's this Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. You can go to twowomeninCrypto.com and under classes and events, and you will find the information on how to register. It's only $10. We have a great group that shows up on a monthly basis and talk about all kinds of things. So it's not just crypto related. It's really about community as well. So we would love to have you join us. It's always fun and very insightful, and everybody brings something that they've picked up over the month to discuss. It just happens just by just the natural flow of everything. So join us, please.
Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody on Saturday. And I guess, do you have anything else for this week, Kel?
I don't.
Well, all right. So until next week, let's all
huddle
on.
Your hosts for Two Women in Crypto are Andrea Caldero and Kelly Lair. You'll find more information and details regarding the Two Women in Crypto membership, educational and informative class and event offerings, and more via their website, twowomeninCrypto.com. Both Andrea and Kelly are available for speaking events and offer private consultations focused on helping individuals navigate the future. Until next time, huddle on.